Beale ball Disasterclass strikes it again. Welcome back to Fog Football. We're here to discuss the Tyneside derby. I, for one, was not that hyped about this game. I don't really think most of us were, but we were led to believe because Newcastle fans were given a police escort to Sunderland that this was the biggest derby in the world. It smokes everything across the globe. No, the reality is it's a pish derby, and the only thing that made it a wee bit big this time is the fact we haven't seen it in 8 years. Sunderland's biggest club legend is, well, I mean, Alan McCoist did play for them, right? But he didn't really do much for them, so let's just take him out the equation and let's say Fabio Barini. You understand where I'm coming from. Newcastle are a club, a Diddy club, that just got a bit of Saudi money. You know, in the build-up to this game, I seen people on Twitter discussing this rivalry and saying, if you're new to supporting Newcastle United over the last few years, let's explain the history of this rivalry. And immediately, that's where a rivalry goes from pish to tin pot, because how in the hell can this be the biggest rivalry in the world if some of your fans need explaining why it's a rivalry? You know, you will ask that pretty much every football fan on this planet, they understand the old firm, they know why there's a rivalry, right? Like, if you ask people why there's what is the rivalry between Sunderland, I mean, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, they're both for Tyneside, but what is it? Because Sunderland people have to travel to Newcastle to get a flight out the city? Is that the extent of this rivalry? I don't know, but I think when a rivalry literally needs to be explained to its actual fans why there is a rivalry, you've got big problems and you've got big issues, but no one's got bigger issues than Michael Beale. The guy was a fraud at Rangers. Him and his mole, they deceived us. We thought he was the mastermind behind 55. I didn't think that. A lot of Rangers fans did, right? That was just used by Rangers fans to make it seem like Michael Beale was a great guy. And then here, he was behind a bit of 55. He was a coach. I'm not going to say he had nothing to do with it, but I mean, it was more or less Gerrard. Right, and I always said Beale was never the mastermind. It was all Stevie G, if we're being perfectly honest about it. Right, he's the fucking manager. You know, Arteta put Pep's cones out. Does it mean he's as great as Pep Guardiola? Now here, Arteta's definitely a lot better than Michael Beale, and Guardiola's definitely a lot better than Steven Gerrard. But you see where I'm coming from. Michael Beale is mincemeat. And here, the only thing I will say is, yeah, Newcastle are obviously on paper a lot better than Sunderland. But this Newcastle team has been absolute mincemeat for a while. It all started, with that, I'd probably say with that penalty. They did get shafted at the Parc des Princes, and they've been downhill since then. They've not really won many games. I mean, they did me out of a bet against Luton, which was soul-destroying. But going into this game, I sometimes fancied Sunderland, but if there was a time to play Newcastle, it's right now. That Sunderland couldn't have had the odds stacked against them. Less against them for me, because yeah, Newcastle have bought a lot of good players. Isaac's a phenomenal player. I mean, runs rings around any player in that Sunderland team. Yeah, you get Jude Bellingham, but he's not quite Jude. Hey, Jude. No, he's not. But as for the game, I mean, there was only really one side in it, and we've all seen a Michael Beale derby shit class before where he just sits deep. I mean, I don't want to say it reminded me of the game at Ibrox earlier this season, but parts did. And, the first goal comes for Daniel Ballard, Northern Ireland international, OG there. You're 1-0 down at half-time, right? It's not the biggest disaster class ever. 1-0, the game's still alive. But then what does Michael Beale do and his team? They shit the bed about 45 seconds into the second half. Defender, or whatever, was it? I don't know what he's doing here, man. Miguel Almiron gets it. Good night. Finds Isaac, 2-0. Once it goes 2-0 like this, I've just seen a derby where things went tits up pretty much immediately after 45 minutes, but, Isaac then got a penalty. I think it was a penalty in the end, and they've won 3-0 Newcastle here, but this video, as much as it is a match review, I mean, I've seen bits here, I didn't watch the whole game, I was walking the dog there for the last 25 minutes here. For people to suggest that this is the biggest derby in the UK, I mean, some people are suggesting the world. I mean, it's fucking nowhere near. It's not even bigger than the Fife derby, man. Fife derby's way better than this. And that's not even a dig. I know that's kind of half a dig at the Fife derby, but end of the day, it's not better than the Glasgow derby. We used to call it the Old Firm, but then Celtic did die, of course. Pacific Shelf 1994. So if you're not aware of that, that's why we call it the Glasgow derby. It's no longer the OF, so to speak. And not only fans, it's the Old firm, of course. But anyway, that's just a wee bit of a wind up there, because of course it's the old firm. Neither club died. We're all in this together. Michael Beale's mole is going to get sacked. It is. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this wee bit of review. And we've got some Scottish Championship, League 1 and League 2 action later on the day. Well, I say later on the day. It's actually kicked off right now as we are speaking. Crazy game last night with Queen's Park beating Dunfermline 2-1. Rather empty Hampden. But anyway, let's move on, shall we?